Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today's tutorial I'm showing you guys how to cut and sew this beautiful butterfly Bubu dress with the mask. So if today's your first time seeing this channel, please don't forget to like, subscribe and drop a comment in the comment section. Let's get started. So I've gone ahead to place my fabric on the floor, and I just measured the length I wanted, and my length is about 62 inches. I'm cutting the front and the back together, okay? So although we'll go ahead and do some alterations later, but for now just follow me. So I'm showing you guys that I'm cutting two, which is the front and the back, right? Now the way you're going to be folding your fabric is, when you cut, like, you measure your yard edge and then you take the part that is folded, that's going to be where your that is going to be your shoulder. Do you get? So for me, I didn't want the shoulder to be closed, I wanted it to be open, so I had to slit it open. Does it make sense? And in that way, that's when you can be able to achieve more than 60 inches for length. Okay, so I measured 3 inches for my neck width, and then I measured 1.5 for the neck width for the back. Then for the front, I came down by about 8 inches for the neck depth for the front. So it depends on what you want. If you want it to be more revealing, you can go ahead and do more than 8 inches. If you don't want it to be more revealing, you can do as 7 inches, depending on your person and their size. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and connect, and then around that neck width for the front, after marking the 8 inches, I also make sure I marked that neck width that I marked earlier, which is 3 inches. Okay, but for you, if you want yours to have like an alter neck, sorry, if you want it to have like Queen Anne kind of neckline, you can go ahead and mark up to like um maybe 5 inches. Okay, I later went ahead to make it about 3.5 so that it will be a little bit wider, or 4 inches. So what I did was 3 inches, right? I later went in by another half inch, but after folding, obviously went to about like 4 inches. That's in total 8 inches. Does it make sense? So for you, if you want yours to be up to 10 inches, you can go ahead and open. Just depends on how you want. But for my client, she doesn't want it to open. Okay, so I went ahead to come down by 1 inch on the end of the fabric, which is going to be our shoulder slant, and I'll be using the whole of the fabric. What I had there from the shoulder, sorry, from the neck to the end of the fabric was about 25 inches, which was very much okay for me. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut off the shoulder slope, and then I'll cut the side as well, so everything will align, which is, remember, the whole thing I have there is 25 inches. Okay, so now we're going to remove the back, and then we're going to cut the front neckline, right? So I'll just go ahead and place or position my front pattern or my front piece properly so I can be able to cut it. Like I said before, if you want your own neckline to have like a Queen Anne kind of neckline, you can go ahead to um go in as much as 5 inches. Okay, but be rest assured that by the time you are done folding, you're still like it's going to be more open. Do you get? So anyhow you want to do it, make sure that you're keeping allowance for folding it. So this is what my neckline is looking like, and I said I was just trying to explain that if you want yours to be bigger, go ahead and do that. Me, I still eventually increased it a little bit, but make sure that you're not increasing it too much so it doesn't become too wide. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So I've gone ahead to place it so you guys will see. For me, I really, this is where I wanted to just increase it a little bit for, because what I measured here is about 6 inches. Okay, it is very okay. It depends on what you want. If you want it to, be more revealing, it's just your choice. But like this is still very much okay, because by the time you fold it, it's going to be more bigger. So what I did was I went ahead to fold it back into two so I could just trim, also I could just trim off some. I trimmed about half an inch. Okay, I didn't want to trim up to 1 inch because I know by the time I fold is going to be bigger. Okay, I just wanted everything to be like 8 inches in total by the time I'm done folding. So I just went ahead to trim it, and this is what we have now. Okay, so what we're going to do next is to go ahead and fold the neckline. But before we do that, for it to be easy for you to sew, like when you're folding it, like for it to be easy for you to fold, you need to notch the edge. So we're going to just give a little bit, just little notch there, so that by the time you're folding, you're still going to maintain that square shape on the neckline, and your neckline is still going to sit perfectly well. Okay, so you see the point, the edge I'm pointing, just go ahead and notch that point a little, and that is just it. So the next thing we are going to do is to go ahead and you can now go ahead and fold your edges if you wish to. Okay, but before then, remember I said we are supposed to have zipper at the back, and I didn't cut that from like in the beginning. So we're just going to go ahead and retrim that. So I my zipper allowance is 1 inch, and I just place that 1 inch, the front around that 1 inch, and then I retrim the back neckline. Okay, then I'm going to just go ahead and slant that zip open. Remember, this is the back. Okay, then we're also going to go ahead and trim this side, because right now the front is obviously bigger than or wider than the back. Okay, so we trimmed out just 1 inch. So in total now what we have is 24 inches. That is the whole width, the width of this fabric or the gown we're working with is 24 inches. I hope that makes sense, and I hope you're not confused. So after doing that, this is what we have. I'll go ahead and fold, and I'll show you guys what I've done. So I've gone ahead to fold the neckline for the front and also for the back, and this is what we have. Okay, you can go ahead and iron it if just iron it so everything looks neatly, but I didn't iron mine because there was no light at the moment. So this is what we have, and I'll go ahead and then try to position. I'm just trying to make you guys just see what my back looks like. Please, as you're sewing, make sure that anything, as you're folding rather, make sure that anything you did on one side is what you're doing on the other side, so one will not be shorter or bigger. So I'll go ahead and put the zipper allowance for my back and close up the zipper allowance for the back. Okay, close the other side and then put the zipper, and after doing that I will join the two shoulders, that's the front and the back shoulder. So I've gone ahead to add my zipper like you can see, and I also close my shoulder for the front and the back. So this is what we have, and I'll go ahead to turn it over. Now I'm going ahead to turn it to the right side, so we need to mark our measurement. What I was just trying to do is to indicate the middle of the fabric. I would advise you iron the center of this fabric so it's easier for you, but for me I marked it. I'm very much sure that you guys are not seeing that, but I marked it, so make sure you mark yours. So for me, from the shoulder I came down by 12 inches, and that's going to serve as my armhole. Okay, remember that should be a channel where your arm is going to come out from, right? So that is where mine is going to be. You can make yours 10 inches or 12, depending on your size and your body. Okay, remember this person is on a bigger side, so if you're smaller I would advise you do like 10 inches or 10 and a half. Okay, so for me I did 12 inches. So from the shoulder I marked the 12 inches, and I divided my bust into 4. Okay, so in the center I'm going to mark um remember your bust divided by 4, so you're going to be marking that measurement on one side and the other side as well. Okay, or you can measure your bust divided by 2, but why I said by 4 is so that you use that middle line as a guide, so you're marking whatever you have on one side. Like for me, the bust divided by 4 was about 11.25. Okay, so 11.25, I will mark 11.25 starting from the middle to the other side, and the other side as I also mark 11.25. You understand? So in total you're dividing it by 4. You're dividing your measurement by 4, and you're sharing it on both sides, right? Because you're sewing on the right side, that's why we turn our fabric on the right side. So this is me marking it, and also on my waistline the same thing. I would measure. So from the waistline I measured from my shoulder to my waistline was 19 inches, and I measured that, and I also marked my waist measurement. Then from my hip measurement I marked from my waist to my hip length, which is 10 inches, and on that line I'll go ahead and impute my hip measurement as well. So you're dividing your hips by 4, and then you're going to put that measurement on one side and also replace it on the other side of the fabric. So in total, by the time you measure from one side to the other side, it's more like you divided your measurement by 2. Now that makes sense. It's very simple. Just follow what I'm doing and you'll definitely get it right. So after putting out the measurement, I'll just go ahead and use my ruler to mark, because we are going to sew this, so we need to see what we are sewing. We are sewing it like this, so you need to see what we are sewing. And after marking it, you can go ahead and use pins to secure those points so your fabric does not shift and then you sew on the wrong side. Do you understand? So everything can match up and it will be easy for you. So I did that, and I believe I didn't show you guys, but make sure you pin your fabric after marking all those things and taking your measurements. So it's always, I think it's very very crucial that you mark your this what your sewing is supposed to look on the fabric. You mark it like so, so that you're seeing what you're sewing, and it's going to be very easy and fast for you, and you will not have any mistakes or error. So I'll go ahead and sew that, and I'll show you guys what I've done. So I've gone ahead to sew that. I know it's not really showing, but if you look closely you might see. So this is what I have so far, and I did not sew it to the end of the fabric. I sewed it to about like 9.5 inches to the end. Okay, so I gave like allowance of 9.5 inches towards the hem. And why we have that is because you want to be able to move freely. All right, remember that this is fitted, because this measurement we did was our actual measurement. Just on the hip I added just a little bit, like half an inch allowance, which is not so important. Okay, so that's why I left that place open, so we can be able to move freely. Then after doing that, we'll go ahead and close up all these edges. Okay, you're going to fold it and then fold the hem as well, and we are done. Thank you so much for watching to this point. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment in the comment section. Thank you. Bye. Mwah.